Are you passionate about creating a profitable business that makes a difference in the world, but you aren't sure how? Are you feeling frustrated and overwhelmed growing your business because the old marketing and sales tactics that you were told to do just aren't working anymore? Hi, I'm Carolyn Ellis, the founder of Brilliance Mastery, and I'm an award-winning coach and author. I want you to know that you are not alone. The world is changing rapidly. Growing your business with outdated cookie-cutter models and systems just doesn't work anymore. Your business needs to be an expression of your unique brilliance to have the impact and the success that you are actually meant to have. I've worked with entrepreneurs from around the globe to heal their relationship with money. I help business owners find that sweet spot where creativity, productivity, and profitability line up. To get started now and to access some great free resources, I invite you to visit me at brilliancemastery.com today.
Does your money flow or does your money go? Yes, all of us want to make more money in our lives, but we also want to hold on to our money. Well, my guest today, Carolyn Ellis, is here to teach us how to use our energy to manifest more money in our lives and actually to maintain it and keep it growing. Carolyn, welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I noticed when you were walking on that you had your purse with you.
Yes, I do have my purse with me. And I brought it because I wanted to help people really get a visual about the relationship that we have with money, because I think a lot of people think that money is about budgeting and taxes and paying your bills and about things that you do. It's a tool. But really, money is an energy. So when people have a financial issue, I really actually think underneath it is an energetic issue that we can address, getting more aligned, more in tune with the vibration of money, because it is just simply another energy. Of course, everything is energy. So what I brought with me here is just a way to demonstrate to everybody watching a really good yardstick of how are you in relationship with your money. And it has to do with how do we receive our money.
So let's have a little bit of fun here. If your purse is handy and you're watching the show this morning, go ahead and grab it. And even if you're a man, this can apply to you as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, well, I just brought a few little examples here. Some people, I mean, this is a very practical, utilitarian looking kind of wallet. And, you know,
pretty basic.
It's pretty basic, but when when I picked this up in the store, my energy went blah. It
Right.
was a little drab, and it's just not very, it doesn't have a lot of personality in it, so that's not so much fun. So that's one example. Now, sometimes people, a little bit more stylish, but it's small. It's hard to fit what you need in it. And so are you trying to cram things into a small space just because it's going to fit better in your purse? I know a lot of the gentlemen,
this kind of feels like a place where you just keep your change, where
Yeah.
your pennies go, so they're not loose in the bottom of your purse.
Yeah, and so is that where you're setting your bar? I just want to have a place for my pennies, but what about the big bucks, right?
Right.
So not so good. And then it goes all the way to something which is, this is my own wallet. And I love this because every time I open it up, I get excited because I see the polka dots in it. It has receptacles for Canadian dollars, US dollars. It really is just something that brings me joy. And so when I hold on to this and I receive money or I give other people money, I feel a sense of my energy lifting. And I think that's a really important thing for people to appreciate.
The other thing I notice about it too, Carolyn, is like it's new. It's a really bright color. It has something that it just makes a statement about you.
And I can't tell you how many times when I pull this out at a store, people say, "Oh, I love your wallet." And it's like, yeah, I do. And so there's an engagement with money that I think is really important these days, because a lot of people, they have their head stuck in the sand about money. They don't want to pay attention to it, or they do nothing but complain about it, or the fact that they have to pay taxes and it goes out, or whatever it is, that we really need to realign and understand that money is an energetic relationship that we have, and if we don't have the kind of success and money that we want, that we need to work on building that relationship, just like you would if you had a friend that you lost touch with.
Right, exactly. And I love this exercise that you did, showing the different wallets and the purse, because I do believe that oftentimes things that we carry do send an impression about what our viewpoints are. You know, so if you have the same old purse that you've been carrying for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, you know, it could mean, I'm not telling you what it means, but it could mean that you have, you know, some old beliefs as well.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So that's just a little practical thing, I think, on a daily basis, because there are, you know, I think there are 6 different influences, currents, as you will, of how money impacts our you know, our level of success. So certainly our habits, how do we treat our money on a daily basis? How do we house it? That's one thing. Some of the other ones that are really important, what's your family money legacy? So a lot of us, we were raised in families where they had a particular belief system about money, or you had an experience about money where you take that on. And, you know, we have people, you know, some of the people I work with, you know, 30, 40, 50 years old, and they're still acting out an old family drama out of loyalty, out of rebellion to what they experienced in their family. So
it's amazing to me how the environment where we grew up and the language that we heard about money, how that still is that same language that replays in our minds.
Absolutely.
You know, even how we spend today, how we save, how we invest.
Yeah. No, and if you think about, you know, we talked a little bit in getting ready for your show, you know, that image, and I think it's a really important one, of the surfer. You know, when the surfer goes out into the water, there's all sorts of different currents and cross tides, and the game is you need to learn how to read those currents, and you need to learn how to get up on your board and ride it into shore. And it's the same thing with our money. There's a lot of different influences and currents that affect us. You know, our habits are one. The money, you know, the money legacy that we learned and we inherited from our family, you know, not just the hair color, but the beliefs about money.
Right.
Our mindset about money. Are we walking around saying, oh, that guy's got a really fancy car, they must have done something crooked to get it. You know, that is just a way that we repel money unconsciously, and it doesn't serve us.
You said something earlier that I think is important to elaborate upon, which is about there is an energy around money.
Yes.
And this energy, where does it come from?
Well, I have a belief that everything is an energetic. You know, this table has an energetic signature to it. Money does, we do. And so we really want to align and clear out some of these old blocks that stand in the way of us holding back our success, from really holding us back from having the prosperity and abundance that I think, you know, in this day and age, people are really starting to understand that it's not all about, you know, if I get more, then somebody else is going to have less. It's like, what if we could all have more? And not necessarily, you know, dollars and cents all the time, but, you know, if we could give more of ourselves, if we could create more wealth, it doesn't mean that, you know, somebody having wealth means that somebody gets less. It's really a leveraged tool that we can offer to the world to get our gifts out and to help more people. So
when I think about prosperity, Carolyn, I think it's not just about the money. It's about, you know, do you also have an abundance of joy in your life? Do you have an abundance of love? Do you have an abundance of friends? Do you have, you know, just a full cup in a lot of different areas? So it can be very challenging for people to feel like they have a full cup, you know, when it comes to money. And I know that we have a great demonstration plan. So let's take a look at that right now.
I'd love to.
Because I believe that, you know, seeing something visually can be so powerful.
Absolutely.
So Carolyn, here we are, and you have a very interesting demonstration for us.
That's right. Well, we've been talking about, does your money flow or does your money go? And so this demonstration is really, here's our money. We've been talking about money as being an energy. And when we're really solid within ourselves, when we find that internal resourcefulness and we shift out of some of these old patterns and behaviors and ways of sabotaging, here's how money can flow into you. So it's flowing in, and you could actually hold it, and you can do something with this. You can circulate it around, and it's really a full cup.
Yeah, a full cup.
It's a full cup, that's right. So, but what we were talking about, we had those 6 money currents that impact people, that can knock you off that surfboard. And so that's just represented here by these different holes in the cup. So what you learn from your parents, you know, how you value yourself, do you have a vision for money, what are your habits for money, how do you align your energy with money, things like that. And so look what happens. Stand back. Okay.
Yeah, you can just see it's just going all over the place.
Yeah. And so no matter how much you run around and try to get more money, try to attract more prosperity, until you really address some of these money leaks that you have in your own energy field, this is what's going to happen. So I'm just going to put that in there because that's a mess.
Yeah, what I love about this is it's such a powerful demonstration. You know, it's simple, but it actually is the truth.
It is, yes.
Thank you, Carolyn.
You're welcome.
Wow, Carolyn, that's powerful for me just to see what you're talking about. I don't think that we realize how many ways that we have like little holes, leaks, you know, it's like it comes in
that's right.
and then it can't stay. And you know, that's what we were talking about, you know, earlier on. Does your money flow or does your money go?
That's right. And really all of this is about just doing that scan in your life. You know, where is there an energetic leak? And that is where your money's going to be, you know, going. And if you can stop it, first of all, you become aware of it, and then you take some action to repair that hole. Just like we saw in the cup. I mean, it's very possible to do, but until you're aware of where you're leaking, you can't really do much. You're just going to, you know, try harder, you know, work harder, and get more of the same result, which is not what you want.
You know, and it's interesting too. This isn't just for people out there who feel like they can't make any money or they don't have any money. There's a lot of us out there who, you know, do well, but then it just flows right through us.
Right.
It's almost like it's hard to hold on to it.
Right.
So there's lots of different ways that money expresses through us.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's almost like we do have that set point. We have a certain set point in our weight. We set the thermostat in the room to get a certain temperature. We have a certain financial temperature that we're comfortable at. And if we get more than that, then it's like, whoa, turn the temperature down. I'm not used to that. So this is all part of this inner work, this energetic work that I feel is so important. And I really, you know.
How do we change our money thermometer?
Well, one really important way to change the money thermometer is by really doing an assessment. I mean, and let's just, you know, another little demonstration. How do you feel around money? So if if people just at home want to just close their eyes and they can think of something joyful, you know, what does that feel like? So you might notice you have a smile on your face.
I'm at the beach.
You're at the beach, you know. So you just notice your shoulders relax. You feel like a sort of tingling in your arms or in your chest, just an openness. That's one thing you want to notice. Okay, so that feels joyful, expansive. And then if you close your eyes again and just think of some time maybe you got stuck in the traffic and you had to get home, you were late picking up your child from daycare, you got a tax bill you hadn't expected. And then again, what's the feeling in your body? That body scan tells you everything. You know, your hands get clenched up, your jaw's tight.
Chest feels tight.
You know, your shoulders start to creep up. And that's basically the two ends of the spectrum. Does this thought, does this action, does this habit feel expansive to you? Does it make you feel lighter? Does it invite you forward? Or does it make you feel shut down? Does it make you feel heavy? And just for people to use that body awareness as a little, you know, rudder to navigating some of these currents that we're talking about can be very powerful.
So we can even use this when it relates to our money.
Totally, absolutely.
So what kind of question should we be asking ourselves while we're closing our eyes and thinking about, you know, where that money hits us inside our body?
So if you're, classic example, somebody's opening up the mail and they're like, oh, I got a bill, clench, you know. So
we'll open that tomorrow.
So again, and there's maybe it's a new thought that you need to have, like, well, I have an opportunity to pay somebody for the beautiful gifts that they've offered to me, and that's part of how we circulate this energy. We have to be able to give it and to receive it. So we're giving, you know, an acknowledgement of somebody's service to us, and we start to train ourselves to be able to expect that for ourselves, for our services that we provide. Maybe you're playing out something that you saw your parents doing when they had fights about when the bills came home. You just need to stop and check that out.
I love this metaphor that you've created about currents. You know, how it's the flow of nature. You know, the tide comes in and the tide goes out.
Right.
And it's not that there's something wrong. It's great when it comes in and it's great when it goes out. But when we apply that to something like money, we're excited but maybe a little bit overwhelmed when it comes in.
Oh, it's all in
and
there.
And then we're, you know, stressed out and overwhelmed when it goes out. And that oftentimes, just like everything in life, there are just cycles.
That's right. There absolutely are cycles. And one of my favorite quotes is John Kabat-Zinn. He said, "You can't stop the wave, but you can learn to surf." And I think that's what I'm excited to share with people about is about how do you get up on that board, find your balance. And sometimes you're going to go in the drink, absolutely. But you recoup, you get back on, and you swim out, and you catch that next wave. And it is very much a cyclical experience. So I think that in this day and age, people need to learn to trust their own inner resilience, their own ability to be able to get up on that board. And just through some simple tools and new habits and new awareness, we're going to be staying up on that board longer and, having longer rides.
So, we started off by just showing different wallets, talking about what your purse says about your beliefs with money, and that's such a fun exercise. But what is some other things that people can do? I love how practical you are. You're just really boiling it down for us.
Because otherwise, there is so much information in the world these days, Kristen.
That's
if you can't do anything with
information.
Yes. I think a very powerful thing that people can do is imagine money was like your friend, and to really engage in a relationship with money as if it was your friend. So, how do you want to welcome it into your home? Say through your wallet, through where you keep your bills. That's one thing. You want to pay attention to it. So it's not something that, the weekend before taxes are due, all of a sudden you're going through all your receipts and stressing out. What would that be like if you had a friend, a good girlfriend who you called up once a year and just said, oh, I'm in a crisis, I need all your help. And it's like, well, where have you been all year, right?
Right.
And make a date. So I'm a really firm believer in just whether it's even a half an hour once a week, dedicate that time.
Make a date with your dollars.
Make a date with your dollars. Yeah.
Make a date with your dollars.
Yes. And whether it's actually, managing your accounts, or you might just want to go and educate yourself on something to do with investment or budgeting, just some way that you are embracing and empowering yourself to break out of some of these old currents that you don't want to get swirling around in forever.
It is an interesting thought to make money your friend.
Yes.
And to make a date and to learn more about it.
Yeah.
I think especially for women, not saying that this isn't true for men, but women, oftentimes we grew up in a household where our dads took care of everything.
Well, yes.
And then our husband took care of everything. And then suddenly, because of the way the world is now, we're looking at something that we don't have a lot of experience taking care of.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've worked with many people, women in particular, who are very successful on the outside and they look very competent, but then on the inside, you realize, they aren't feeling confident about their money. They are not paying attention to their, future financial health. And because they are still carrying around these messages, well, that's the dad's job, or that's the man's job, or wow, it's really tough. I saw a lot of conflict in my household about it, or my parents were always complaining about it. So again, it's those old stories that we tell ourselves. And, for us to get into present time with who are we now, and not, being that 7-year-old little girl who witnessed something at home, or being the 15-year-old rebellious teenager who's, or emulating like, the 80-year-old granny who's like, I got to watch every single penny because of the Depression. So, who do you want to be with your money, and to really engage with it rather than try to sort of contain?
What does it look like when you have flow with your money? What does that look like or feel like?
Oh, well, feeling-wise, I mean, you just feel that there's a sense of joy. Things feel more graceful and easy. And I mean, looking like it is just, there's not a lot of conversation about it really in your head. Oh, should I do this? It's like, I want to spend some time. I'm going to spend some time, and I'm nurturing myself. It's an act of my own self-honoring in a way, to take that time to work on your finances, work on a plan, create savings goals for yourselves, to not feel guilty to be planning a vacation with your family, or to worry about having to make trade-offs between education and food, or mortgage payments. So there feels like there's more congruity, and less trying to swim upstream all the time.
As I'm listening to you, it brings to mind, where is that money conversation in my mind? We always have these conversations that are going in our mind about different things. And, almost a barometer, where's the money conversation? So if the money conversation is the first conversation, everything you do is a question. should I order this on the menu or should I order that? You know, how much gas should I put in my gas tank because this is how much the gas cost. It becomes the first conversation, and I believe that, you know, because we only have so much space in our minds,
bandwidth.
Yes, we can only have one conversation at a time. So that conversation that you have with money can come at the cost of conversations that you could be having, appreciating the loved ones in your life, or appreciating a beautiful day, or, you know, enjoying something that is very much in the present, because that money conversation is just right there at the top.
And I mean, you're raising a really important point I want to make sure that we talk about, which is because, you know, money is just another form of energy. You know, we can't expect to be generous in our money and then to be stingy with acknowledging people or connecting with people. So you want to look for abundance in ways that may not look financial to you. So whether it's just really enjoying a delicious meal that you made or somebody prepared for you, going and being abundant in terms of, you know, connecting with your friends and going for a walk in the park, things that don't have, you know, anything to do with money, but you are engaging in that energy of generosity and abundance and flow. That's also very important. It's like, you know, ways to prime the pump for, you know, more money flow to come towards you.
You know, I love what you're talking about, Carolyn, and I know that a lot of us are out there and we're maybe thinking, you know, boy, I wish I could just win the lottery. You know, if only that Powerball would come back with my numbers. And what I heard recently is that, you know, this thought of winning the lottery is actually poverty consciousness. And the reason that it was described as that is because it's this belief that something outside of you is going to come and rescue you from your circumstances, and it's even more disempowering for yourself. And that's probably why we see people who win the lottery, and then 6 months, a year, a couple years later, all that money's gone. It doesn't matter if it's $1 million or 250 million. It comes, it flows, and it goes. And so, can you speak to that?
Well, again, I think that is because, you know, you may have a huge amount of money, or, you know, what might to you be a huge amount of money in the bank account, but if you haven't addressed some of those internal constrictions and blocks, then they're just going to barricade your way to being able to actually hold on to that money. So there again, we're talking about the old family legacy. If you don't have a vision for what you actually want to do or how you want to contribute through that, it's really important. If you have a fundamental belief really deep down inside that you're not deserving, you're not worthy of it, you will unconsciously find ways to sabotage and to let that money flow out. So again, it goes back to those currents, and back, you know, just thinking about our demonstration, you can pour as much water as you want into that cup, but if you don't block the leaks, you don't seal them up, they will go, whether it's $250 million or $250.
Yeah, I think that when we have those leaks, and you call them energetic leaks, that it doesn't even matter how small they are. Like, it'll just slowly drain right
and here's
out that
the thing
channel.
too, because once you know that they're there, you know, they might just be little, you know, a little bit of it, but it's almost like you have another hole that starts because you're aware that it's there, but you haven't fixed it yet, so you've got two. Yes.
Great. Carolyn, thank you so much for being here and sharing with us your expertise on money. I know that this is incredibly valuable, not just to myself, but to all of our viewers. So thank you for being here. And I love your demonstrations. I think that it is so powerful to see visuals of representing what our mindset is.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you. Are you passionate about creating a profitable business that makes a difference in the world, but you aren't sure how? Are you feeling frustrated and overwhelmed growing your business because the old marketing and sales tactics that you were told to do just aren't working anymore? Hi, I'm Carolyn Ellis, the founder of Brilliance Mastery, and I'm an award-winning coach and author. I want you to know that you are not alone. The world is changing rapidly. Growing your business with outdated cookie-cutter models and systems just doesn't work anymore. Your business needs to be an expression of your unique brilliance to have the impact and the success that you are actually meant to have. I've worked with entrepreneurs from around the globe to heal their relationship with money. I help business owners find that sweet spot where creativity, productivity, and profitability line up. To get started now and to access some great free resources, I invite you to visit me at brilliancemastery.com today.